Hey guys, it's Mac from Simple Theory Gear. Before we get too far out of the gate with our stove release, I just want to answer some questions we've had from Facebook, from Instagram, and also on different videos, and really kind of talk about philosophy of the pack stove, but also, again, like I said, address some questions and talk about where we're going as a company. So we are painfully transparent. And so some of this might actually sound a little odd to people talking about the philosophy of our stove. So to kind of cut to the chase, there are amazing stoves on the market. We are big proponents of, Firebox. I've personally been a solo stove ambassador. And there's, of course, the gas stoves. There's the Jet Boil. There's the Whisper Light. And all of these stoves, much like the pack stove, fit into a certain category. So there's been a lot of questions or a lot of comments pertaining to, oh, well, how does it compare? How does it contrast? And that, I think, as a consumer, is a very good question. But I also want to kind of bring into focus that just like other outdoor gear, like knives, for instance, there's choppers, there's fillet knives, there's serrated knives, there's all different kinds. So if we're looking at the pack stove, what is it best used for? Where does it fall? So again, I'm going to say 1 to 2 people who are, definitely who have something like the Stanley Cook set. Again, this is designed to nest it, and then when you're ready to cook, to go on top. We're talking about rehydrating meals, and then I wish I would have brought it in. I have a small frying pan and a 60-ounce pot. Those are my 3 cooking vessels for this stove. The burn chamber does not have the absolute capacity it needs to sustain long, unless you want to keep feeding it. But if you're going to kind of pack it in and light it, to have a long, big coal base that's going to sustain for big cooking. It wasn't designed to do that. So when people ask, oh, well, how does it compare to these bigger stoves? It doesn't. It's a horse of a very different color. And I'll be the first to say, if you're going into the backcountry and you are using a stove and not a campfire to do your cooking, the first one I would say, if you're looking for a natural stove, Firebox is a great option for you because it has that bigger fuel capacity. Then you can dampen some of the burns, and it's versatile. But then if you really want to look at something else, I think a Jet Boil and, like I said, the Whisper Light for those gas stoves, if you're looking for quick and efficient. But for me, I do a lot of solos. I solo in Canada. I solo around Michigan. So for me and the food that I pack in, I try to simplify everything. So you saw on Instagram the other day, we're talking about Knorr sides. This is all I need for that. I make like fajita pizzas and things like, small things. With the Knorr sides, hopefully I am catching fish that I can cut that in there and I have my protein. So when I look at what I'm not cooking steaks. I'm not cooking potato dishes, especially, that take a long time to soften and cook and all that. So that's what this stove was designed for. So I want to be always absolutely transparent with you guys. This is a great setup for boiling, for rehydrating. Can it cook to a higher degree? We've had some people do reviews and they were able to do that. But I am not ever going to be someone who tries to be all things to all people, even when we're not. I think that's a horrible business practice. So again, if you are looking for a stove that is a great pack stove, that's why it's called the pack stove, to throw in your pack. This right here, or even a 40-ounce water bottle, goes right into your water bottle sleeve, and just over 11 ounces. No, it's not the lightest stove out there, but it's not because we use a thicker gauge steel. We have it structurally enhanced, in a sense, the way it's welded, the way it's all together, to give you a lot of versatility when you're using your alcohol stoves, your fuel tabs, using it as a burn, a bio burner. And so the next question always comes to, what about titanium? We're funding this project by ourselves. my wife and I. So what we have is only so much financial capital. That's why these are coming out in small batches, small runs. Titanium would be an excellent option. It would drop the weight of this probably, my guess is like 4 or 5 ounces, which would be tremendous. It's just very expensive. And we've tried to keep the price point down. And so our future goal, would be to have a titanium option for you. But currently, we just can't do that. When you launch a new product, especially something that has to have lots of prototypes like the PAQ stove did, there's a great cost that you have to kind of start feeding back into. Some people were asking about like an ash pan underneath. An excellent idea. What I like to do, because I like to keep things very simple, I'll throw aluminum foil down underneath. That way too, I can put, we'll talk about the starters in a second, the all-conditioned starters. On that foil, it not only kind of reflects heat back up, but it catches any kind of ash. But to add more weight to this or to change the design is also going to change, the airflow patterns and things of that nature. So down the line, you very well may see an ash pan insert. However, right now, that's not going to be an option. So we look for how we can adapt or improvise to really overcome the need for an ash pan. But again, with all stoves, yes, the ash is a definite thing to be wary of. But also, just like a campfire, I want people to be very careful of embers coming out and sparking. That's a wood choice a lot of times. So you're not sloppy with these stoves. The other thing too, currently, if you order, move this into focus now. So we'll go from the old workhorse stove that I've been using for about a year into, they come, all wrapped, nice and shiny. Our fabricator is awesome. I talked to them yesterday about weld lines and structural integrity and 304 stainless steel. But like I said, they come in these bags. This was originally meant just to be a carrying case, not for backcountry carry, because we always felt that the stove itself is the carrying case. But really to protect it, the carrying case as it shipped. However, great feedback from Paleo Hiker MD and a lot of people online. We have already ordered samples of a different style bag. We'll talk about that in the future. And you'll probably still see these if you order for a while until we get the samples worked out and the logo and all that fun stuff. But also when we put our fat wood and stuff like that in the package for you, because we want you guys to have your first burn on us. So we talk about that. Finally, we are working with Vulcan XP, an amazing company. These, I just want to show you the size of they're called ACS, All Conditioned Starters from Vulcan XP out of Louisiana. They are really the size, I'm going to bring it really close so you guys can see that, of a pair of die or like a sugar cube with a little top on it. All natural. These things are excellent and really enhance just getting the stove started. And when I say that, we try to really make the system as effective and efficient as possible. Hence why if you're in we'll say the carry system, right? So where the bottom burn plate is attached underneath and locked in. I should have put these in first. And then you have this. You go to where you're camping, out, this comes out, goes right in, and now you have your twigs and everything set up, your starter, and you're already off and running. There's no setup time. So that's really what we're looking at. And that's really the future. These will come out next, probably about 3 weeks or so. We're working on the packaging because they are making these exclusively for Simple Theory gear. That's something that we've never had, and it's actually really cool. So that's what we're looking at. As far as the PAQ stove goes, titanium is in the future. We're happy right now kind of where we're at. We want definitely to get a lot more user input and feedback from this design, where we're going with this design. Again, we had talked about and mentioned ash pans, perhaps increasing more airflow somehow. So when you use bigger pots, like I said, I precariously lay it like this, not recommended, but oddly, it does allow a little bit more airflow. Just this really, 16 gauge distance up. But even if you put your pot on here, you're going to see some banking down of smoke. But this is really because this was made for smaller vessels. the circumference of, we're looking at a 4-inch wide gap here. So that's really, I want to get out there, the absolute transparency of what this stove is, how it works, what it's meant for. We are very proud of it. We hope you guys like it. It is all made, fabricated, sourced in America, hence the little bit of a higher cost, plus recouping some of the costs from the prototypes and the testing phases and everything that goes into it. So please understand that too. If you guys have any other questions, by all means, let us know. Any comments, any feedback. We love the communication. We are all about respectful criticism, if that's what it is, so that we can better our product for customers and consumers, but also having, healthy dialogue so that we can ensure that our product is the very best it can be. So thank you guys very much. Please check us out on Instagram and on Facebook as well as YouTube. And we'll see you guys right here on the next video. Thanks, guys.